It's okay to sit and transmute dark energy. I used dark energy and transformed it into a flower. And I turned it into love. You sit in that chemical, that feeling, and you take it in no matter what. This is how I overcame anger, rape, homelessness. Those cycles were my whole life. When you start to understand and harness the ability of taking that energy and you grasp that thought wave, that frequency, and you accept it, you bring it in, and you do something else with it. You don't take it and react or run away from it. You bring it in and you sit with it and you observe with it and you acknowledge with it and you create with it. And stay in the emotions, feelings, keep it alive, keep it swelling up in you, and keep that feeling burning in you, and don't let it go. Keep it burning in you and do something uncomfortable again and again and again. It's not an answer, it's a story. It's a journey. It's a process. It's a roller coaster. You got to go through, but you have to accept it.
Welcome, dear listeners, to another episode of the Oliver Schirach Show. Let me be your dream catcher. Let me help you to get those dreams closer to you by going out and finding guests that share with us mind-altering and expanding topics, knowledge and insights, so that you can move forward and get closer to grab that dream that brings you closer with your true self, your soul and your bigger you, and to the universe and all there is. So welcome, dear listeners, to this third interview with returning champion Malcolm Nair from Calgary, Canada. I got attentive to Malcolm when I listened to his NDE stories on different podcasts. His story where he drove a car into the wall and exited his body and saw the other side. He was a victim of life. He was narcissistic, egoistic, and not the nicest person to be around. But this near-death experience has shown him other paths. And it took him many, many years and hard work to get where he is now, so he can help other people to be their best self and get over their negative, dark energies. So in this third interview, we are talking about discipline, the spiritual discipline and how to stay disciplined. We also talk about the dark energies and how to use them to create something beautiful, to create a beautiful life, and what it means to have these dark energies. And Malcolm has a lot of stories and experiences in being in those dark energies. So if you feel like trapped in yourself, in the dark energies, in the abusive behaviors, in the I cannot do it, in the victim mode, Malcolm has a no bullshit attitude to help you, and that's also his language. So if you feel easily offended, this might not be the interview for you, but perhaps it is the right thing. Sometimes we need to be a little bit poked to actually move forward and get off our fluffy cloud of spirituality. So if you want to know how to use your dark energies, how to sit in your emotions, and how to actually create something beautiful and move forward, or how to connect with your consciousness and how to actually expand it, and what it means to be in a meditative state during the day, and how to actually get there, then this is the episode for you. So, welcome to this third interview with me and Malcolm Nair, and yeah, here we go. There we go. Welcome, dear guests, to another Oliver Schirach show. And this is part number 3 with Malcolm Nair, the near-death experiencer from Calgary, Canada, who put his SUV in a corner of a house and kind of was catapulted out of his body, and by that changed his life to the person he's at the moment. And he had us inclined to say, hey, let's go for a third interview. So welcome, Malcolm, for this third talk in conversation.
Yeah, thank you. I love it. I love in any shape, way, or form to expand the global consciousness of whoever is in the world, right? Whoever wants to attract this type of stuff. Like sometimes I get in people's feed and I'm like, it's happening. Like it's happening. It's expanding. This title of this is, my mind is expanding, but consciousness is infinite. It's expanding inevitably, right?
Yeah, and that's the title of the second one. My mind is expanding, because you gave
Right.
me this tip on what you took the tiredness and my sickness I had 2 weeks ago and said, okay, if you're yawning, if you're tired, instead of saying, oh, I'm tired and I'm tired, saying, no, I'm expanding. My mind is expanding. I'm evolving. My consciousness is expanding. Something in
It's a
that
great
direction.
programming. Yeah, it's a great programming to do because we're so used to programming ourselves to undermine ourselves or dismiss ourselves or self-sabotage ourselves or diagnose ourselves. And then we get familiarized with this. So then we go to the system and the system does the same thing. And it becomes a synapse. It becomes a programming, a wiring and firing in our conscious life that becomes a memory that never changes. And we stay this way. And it's hard to reform. It's hard to change. It's hard to recreate reality or bend reality when you are stuck in a matrix that you've designed.
We started the idea with let's go more into discipline and focus, but I wanted to actually start right now. You just put these words into my head. How are we sabotaging ourself, our life? And why are we doing that? Why are we sabotaging?
Great question. Good question. Because we don't realize that our souls, our spirits are the students of life, not us, not this brain, not this mind-body connection, heart. Those are very important, but it's our spirit. And we don't realize that we're tainting the cycles, the patterns, and creating karmas in this vessel. And our spirits are not getting the lessons that we're supposed to, and it becomes too late. And sometimes people say that, well, in time, or we have to go through the experience, or we have to go through the circumstance, we have to go through the pain. Not always. We don't have to. If we can self-actualize, if we can reflect and realize through visions, through stories, through imaginations, through turmoil, other people's turmoil, that's called expansion, right? So we're doing this to ourselves every day. We dismiss the expansion on so many levels, right? And we're tainting our progression. And we do this.
But why do we do so?
Because we don't know how to have a connection to our spirit. We're not connected to our spirits. I help people find and tap into their spirits better. I help people understand how to have that relationship with your spirit, because that authority gave me from leaving my body and coming back to life and going through every progression that I had to go through, built this relationship with my spirit. It was a bittersweet relationship in the beginning, but once I started to get into it and understand from a spiritual level that I'm guiding my life spiritually, then everything started to make sense. So now you can teach it. But we do it because we don't know what we are and who we are. We don't know. We think we're, even if people say I'm this spirit and they say I meditate, I do all this spiritual stuff and I've done this, I've done that, I do this, I do that. You'll find thousands and thousands, maybe millions of people that say that, but they're still, and trust me, I'm not targeting, right? It's about to come across that way, but lost. And then they realize what was lost was their connection to their spirit. But meanwhile, they've been doing all this spiritual work thinking that they're very spiritual and very connected, but they're still very distant from their spirit. It's crazy. And I'm not talking about the ones that are actual practitioners. Like the actual practitioners, they're great. But the ones who are on more of a journey still and acting as if they're a practitioner, that's what I notice. And I know it's as bad and as hard the truth sounds. It's just, there's thousands and thousands of accounts of this, and I'm not just speaking out of thin air. There's many people that do understand and they do surrender. It's a part of their ego. It's their ego mind and their ego spirit. And once they're humble enough to accept the fact that they don't need to put their ego in front and they can surrender, they will accept that and they will obey and bow down and repent and understand that it's okay to face the fraudulence. It's okay to accept and be willing to sit in that pain and suffering, which is the ego, like the judgments, the fear, the doubt, the thoughts, feelings, and emotions. They want to justify, they want to react. If that goes away for a second, you sit in that chemical, that feeling, and you take it in no matter what. This is how I overcame anger. This is how I overcame rape. This is how I overcame homelessness. Those cycles were my whole life. I was going through homelessness. My whole life I was being abandoned. I moved into over 100 homes in my life. I've got into so many car accidents and I didn't realize it till after my car accidents that, holy smoke, since I was a baby, a 3-year-old or a toddler in a car seat in the front seat. Back in those days, you were able to travel in cars in the front seat. I remember my stepdad getting in a car crash, the glass shattered everything. And luckily I didn't go through the windshield, but he protected me. And I looked over at him and blood everywhere, shattered glass everywhere. And I was just a little baby in a car seat. I remember that. And I remember like, wow, my mom got in car accident. My dad used to drink and drive and speed. These are cycles that I repeated subconsciously.
When you mentioned this, I have this feeling of, how you say it, not genetic, the trauma or the patterns are given from your parents down to you and you just continue them. So
they're not given.
You just copy them.
They're memories that our subconscious or supercomputer only knows. If we don't reprogram our supercomputer and put a new hardware, a new software in there, if we don't, then it is not serving our conscious awareness. So right now, it's serving your conscious awareness at the level of your generations, of your life patterns, your cycles, everything. I'm talking about just life, all of it, the cells, the memory in your skin, your bones, your heart, your lungs, your organs, all the traumas, everything. It's a memory. If you listen to Thich Nhat Hanh, Sadhguru, if you listen to Muji, if you listen to there's so many even masters that talk about it. I've researched so much that I don't like write down their name, but like, oh my God, there's so much recycled information in the world, thousands of years of suppressed information that it's not just one. You don't take one person and take that information and be like, I'm a disciple of that one person. No, that's not how it works. You need to be, expansive, right? But coming back to your question, which was, sorry, go ahead. You have some thoughts going on.
Which questions was it? Like, why are we sabotaging, or generational, trauma, generational cycles? Which question did you want to go answer?
No, I'm answering it all in this story. If people pick up on in the whole process, the whole journey of their life review, and they come to terms and come to grips with it, they will get the root cause. It's not an answer. It's not an answer. It's a story. It's a journey. It's a process. It's a roller coaster. You got to go through, but you have to accept it. You got to be willing. It's because people are not willing to accept their fraudulence. They're dismissing, they're separating their ego from their spirit. They're separating, like they have their spirits in their head, but they dismiss their own fraudulence. They're like their spirits are stuck in their head. They need to get their spirits out of their head to be able to separate and look at it like, that's not me. That's not me. It's hard to do, but you need to understand slowly. Like if I just sit here talking about a session, it's a whole like sometimes I deal with clients and it's like 3-4 sessions I'm on the same topic until they really they grasp the feeling, they digest the acknowledgement, the wisdom, they see the feeling of embarrassment, they feel the shame, and it's not coming from me, it's coming from them. I'm just mirroring them, exposing them for them to accept it with love and grace and appreciation. Then I say it's okay, but that's good. Sit in that. And a lot of people don't want to sit in their own shit.
Do I get it right? Like that others look at it like the shadow. Like you don't want to look at the shadow. It's kind of like the things you lie about yourself. Like, could be because your parents or your friends or your teachers or your society doesn't accept these kind of things, but it's a part of you. So you also push it away and then you lie about it. You're not honest with yourself about these different, habits.
A lot of
wishes.
that. It's a lot of that, and it's a lot of them sugarcoating and doing too much love, fluffy work. It's a lot of like, I just want to keep growing. I'm going to dismiss. I don't want to go into the past. Like the past is the past. It's done. It's over. And I want to pretend to be the best angelic being I want to be. But there's a fraudulence in their face, in their skin, in their body. And when you expose them, you can see the disgust and you can see that they don't want to even look at themselves. And when I put them in front of a mirror, they're like, I'm beautiful. What do you like? And they disrupt the meditation. They kind of come in and they're like, and then I say, imagine they don't disrupt it. And I say, what was that like? And they just smile and they're like, oh, I was looking at myself with beauty and I'm so great and I've come so far in my life. I'm like, you did it wrong. You did it wrong. They don't even want to face some of the things that they have gone through in their life. They think they've faced it. They think they have faced it because they have gone so far and overcome so much. That doesn't mean they faced it. They're dismissing it. They're sugarcoating it. They're putting it under the carpet and it's sitting in them still. It's in them. You can see, and it manifests in their body. They get pain, they get aches, they get hemorrhage, they get inflammation, disease, they get arthritis, they get blockages. Sometimes they get a blockage with their pipes in their home. Sometimes they get a blockage with their car engine keeps breaking down. Sometimes they get a blockage there's so many types of blockages that I've encountered with people, and they think it's a blockage within them, but it's a blockage in their home. There's a pipe blockage. Literally, there's a plumbing issue that happens over and over. And we talk about it. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think to talk about that. But every 3 months, I have a plumber coming to my house. And then we work on it. And then we talk about their interactions with the plumber. We talk about their thoughts, feelings, and emotions of that pattern. And it connects to something in their spirit and something in their life journey. And then when they address it from within and they address it also without, they fix the outside circumstance, they fix the inside circumstance, that cycle changes, their blocks get released, and they feel like, oh my gosh, Malcolm, I've just went to the doctor, I came off my medications, and they're helping me lower my medication, my pain is going away, all the teachings you're telling me is working. And it's like, it's a new programming, it's a new shift in reality.
I don't know if I got everything right here. So what I understood is parts which we are not willing to look at ourselves in our life. You mentioned rape and car accidents and changing houses and homelessness and all that stuff. So you have like these spiritual evolved people, they can push that away. And how to explain that? I have more a feeling in me than words. So let me see if I can get around that.
You can.
I can, yes. It's like you think you have let go of this block, of this past, of this darkness, but you basically have just worked hard to push it down. As you said, push it under the rug, push it away. And now you don't see it anymore, but it's still in the body. Like the body keeps the score. Peter Levine talks about, Awakening Tiger was his experience where he realized that the body can let go of trauma because it stays somewhere, knee, back, as you said, cancer, pains.
Right.
And so they're now doing all this meditation. They go out with love and all that stuff, but they have not really let go. Did I get that right?
Right. Now imagine exactly what you said. You shouldn't get offended, right? Imagine you did that and I poke at you right now. I'm poking at you. I'm poking at you. I'm poking at you. I'm pushing your buttons. You should not be poked. You should not have, like Dr. Wayne Dyer says, when someone is getting squeezed, when you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Something else doesn't come out. What's already inside comes out. So that's what I mean. So if you've done all the work and I'm now squeezing you, pointing at it, pulling it out, showing it, whatever comes out of you, it's going to come out. And that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So that's the kind of deep work I had to do. Is I had to be poked. I had to be prodded. I had to be thrown in jail again after my car accident. I had to get eviction notices. I had to have a criminal record. I had to get an emergency protection order on me. I had to get my license taken away. I had to go through anger management. I had to go through domestic violence, abuse. I had to go through my child being taken away from me. I had to go through 20 more homes, moving in 1 year into 20 more homes. So I had to go through, not being poked.
So how does that look like? I get the point, being poked is like, it's repeating, it's coming back, it's coming back.
No, that's what I'm saying. Going through the feelings and emotions and thoughts and not being poked. You have to embrace that. Imagine if you've done all that work and now someone's poking you. You said yourself, I'm getting triggered. It feels like I'm being targeted or my ego's coming in the way. That's what happens to people. So they're being poked and they can't melt it away. It's like they have control. They can't surrender. They can't accept. They can't obey, and they can't repent, and they can't be obedient. They take it as, why should I obey? That's a bad word for me. I've obeyed my whole life. My father made me obey. My ex-husband, my ex-wife made me obey. I don't want that. I just want to live my life. I'm angelic now. And it's like, you see that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. So I get the point. So like poking and the anger comes out, the aggressiveness comes out. Like, let me be.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? You piss me off. Why do you have to piss me off? Kind of like this. So how did it look for you as an example? You showed all these different, or mentioned these different examples. So in the beginning, when you were thrown into jail or when the license was taken away from you, how did you react?
This is where that energy transmutation gets involved. When you start to understand and harness the ability of taking that energy and you grasp that thought wave, that frequency, and you accept it, you bring it in, and you do something else with it. You don't take it and react or run away from it. You bring it in and you sit with it and you observe with it and you acknowledge with it and you create with it and you design with it and you visualize with it, you imagine with it. And it's difficult, right? But it like I said, you got to go through a course. You know, like any teaching, you have to learn, right? You have to learn. It's not like a grasp in one talk. It's not, right? It's like you're getting in the way right now. That's what you're doing right now. You're trying so hard to figure it out. And you're doing that same thing right now. You're not allowing it to embody in you. You're using what a lot of people do, their logical side, their analytical side, their intelligence, their accolades, their education, their knowledge, their wisdom to come in the way of it all. And trust me, I deal with people who work for Google, work for NASA, build satellites and you name it, entrepreneurs, and they don't want to be exposed, right? But they have that same amazing, brilliant mind. They have over 30 programs and courses and accolades that they have accumulated, but nothing has been able to work. But when they do, and I don't want to say it for me, I want to say it for you. When they just do the work, then everything is going to work better that they have accumulated. But they have to understand to do the work that they're negating. People don't want to work on their relationship with themselves. They don't want to work on the relationships they had with their ex. They think it's done. Now I want the next relationship. I want the next success. I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. But the teachings that's missing in the law of attraction that even the top names in the industry are not pointing out, that I realize and what I teach is this fine tuning, the fine tuning of everything. When you do that, when you do the fine tuning in your life, then everything starts to make sense more. People want to chase. They want to just attract. They don't want to work backwards. They don't want to manifest backwards. They don't want to go into the holes that were dug before. They filled it up, and then they buried it again. But it's okay to sit and transmute dark energy. People don't understand that dark matter, dark energy, all of these emotions, these feelings, they could be used as power. They can be actually used to help you surrender. But you got to be willing to sit in the depths of it. It's like you don't want to go jump in an ice lake, right? And you jump in the ice lake and everything about you wants to escape, but your spirit, you're not trying to be in control, but your body just wants to leave. Your brain, everything about you just wants to escape. But the moment you connect to your spirit and surrender and say, I'm going to die, I'm going to kill this, then you go through that awakening. That's the moment that I'm talking about, that we can do in our day-to-day lives with other areas. It's not just about ice water. It's not just about biohacking. It's not just about intermittent fasting. Those are additives that I've done in my life. I'm talking about the real work. It's not just shadow work. I did a meditation. I went to a shadow worker. I went to a healer and they did healing. But then there's more that you need to do for you. I want people to do more for themselves. I don't want people to just be dependent on someone to do a quick healing or a shadow work or an experience for them and think that it's something. Yes, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be very healing and rejuvenating. Absolutely. But when you continue your life journey as this, you walk as a spiritual being and you become this conscious, aware noticer and observer of your life, that's the path. That's the path.
Yeah, it's like you also mentioned, I think in the last interviews, if you go out all the time to get the healings, the Reiki, the massage, the hypnotherapy, the whatever, then you're dependent on an external support to heal, to move forward. So you're still kind of a victim, but sometimes it's good to have that kind of support because you're stuck somewhere. It's like when you get stuck and you cannot get out yourself, you need a hand. The person pulls you out and you continue yourself.
Absolutely. See, people take words differently, and even ego, like someone may take this and be like, and use their perception to answer and be like, what do you talk about? That works. I do that kind of work, or I've gone and taken that kind of work. It works. I never even said that it doesn't work. I never said that you shouldn't. I'm speaking about something else. Yes, they work. Yes, they're great. But I'm saying once you do the work internally for yourself, on yourself, imagine now the work that you go get done, how much more it will enhance, right? It would only enhance doing this work that I provide as well. And I do for myself and my clients. Everything enhances for them. And that's one thing that I've always been targeted. People have always said, oh, you're egotistical, or you're arrogant, or, oh, this guy thinks he knows it all, but no, you know what? I'm the first to surrender and admit my own fraudulence. Are you?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And take it from my reviews and my testimonies and my clients. Don't take it from me. That's why I tried to change how I project it. I don't need to be, just when people grow for themselves, they're their own testimony. Be your own testimony.
But this is kind of like, also, you show it again, that you said chameleon work or the mirror. I heard many people say I'm a mirror for other people so they can see their fraudulence or their shadows or the parts they don't want to see. And if people get triggered by the way you talk, it's just something that reflects from them, if I understand that right.
Absolutely.
So how is this being a mirror? How do you realize when you work with different personalities and different persons with their different blocks? Do you realize that you talk different to the people, or you bring different examples? Or how is that working when you say I'm a mirror or I'm a chameleon to help the growth, right? Because you need to poke to find out where are the deep hidden.
See, people can learn it. I've been able to teach it. But for me, ultimately, it came naturally because of my exposure to life and so many dimensions of life. I was a Jehovah Witness, Christian, Catholic, Roman Catholic, Hindu. I dealt with Muslim stuff. I've been around magic. I've been around certain type of powers. I've seen families do magical things. I've seen people do like 50 to 90 day fasts, or 130 day fasts, or 7-year fasts. 7-year fasts, sticking to something, but they have these supernatural powers that they can speak something out of their tongue and cause someone from halfway around the world to get either a disease or to heal.
Wow.
Right? So these things I've been around lovely people, negative people, old people, young people. And it's just given me, and I've knocked doors. I've knocked thousands and thousands and thousands of doors. I've gone into thousands of homes and sat with thousands of families. So I kind of, that came to me, like it happened for me, right? And so a lot of it people can't just do it, but they can be taught it. They can learn to adapt it. So, okay, so you want to know, how do I do it or how can I teach it, right?
Well, how does it feel? I mean, how do you know now that you mirror someone?
What I do is I drop, so I have a perception, right? I perceive, I receive, and then we have the ego, and then I have the ego, and then I have the thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and then I have downloads and uploads come, and then I take it all, and then I realize the same stuff for them, that they have it too. They have all this like everywhere, and then I meet them where they're at. I don't come at them from another energy. I come at them with the energy that they have at the moment they're sharing. And then sometimes there's different energy. They have 5 different energies in one session. And then I approach them at all those different levels, right? So it's not that I have the same energy the whole way. It's like you have to understand the energy dynamics of people and yourself, right? So it's hard. It's not hard, but I've met people, I've worked with clients that work with energy healing, and they tell me, do you know that you're doing what I was taught or what I went to school for or what I do? And I'm like, no, I didn't know that. And they say, this is called cognitive behavioral therapy. This is called this, that you just did RTT. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I didn't study it. I didn't learn it. It's just, I'm doing it.
It's just intuitive. It's something you came back with from the near-death experience, or is it something you already had from before? Because you shared with us, you grew up in a family, in an environment where you had Ouija board, where your uncle came after he died to get his jacket and all these things. Is it something from that long ago, or?
It's an accumulation of it all. It's an accumulation of, like I said, I guess I've come to realize that my memories have served me. Right? A lot of people want to dismiss their memories and they don't want to turn it into nurturement, like to nurture their life. They want to take it as it's happened to me, so I got to avoid it. It's not, it didn't happen for me. You know, that's part of the embrace. I've been able to find the root cause in my own depths of hell and use it as a learning and a teaching and as a wisdom for myself, but it didn't happen till later. So, and it's the accumulation of knowledge and information and experience as well. It was not taught to me. It wasn't guided to me. I never had, but at the same time, maybe there was guidance and teachings along the path of my entire life that has come to me and I've been able to accumulate it, right? So it's not like I went to a course or a program, but I've taken my life and created a course and a program.
Yeah, it's the experience. You have embodied the experience and learned from it. Which brings me to another question from these different interviews I listened to. Do you remember a situation where there was a human, a being, which pushed you or gave you an important lesson at the moment? And when you look back, you're like, was that just an angel, a guide, something else, but a human? Because I've heard these stories many times, like they were like, there was this person in the library and just told me, you have to go to this lesson. That was just a talk I had this week with a guy. And he said, that old lady just told him, like, you have to go there. And this event he went to changed his life. So do you remember something like that when you say you don't know if you were guided or just life?
Yes. So many, countless, hundreds and hundreds of times but the realization comes when you become a realization. When you become a realization, then everything is a lesson. It's not that some people see it and they're like, oh, that was that experience. But imagine now that you can take everything and make that into a realization, right? Everything that happens. So before, yes, I've had similar experiences, many of what you just said with that person experienced, I could just say, yes, absolutely. But now let's get into something deeper. What if that homeless man that I saw from a mile away, and I'm walking, I'm going to counseling, right? I'm going to counseling. I'm surrendering my ego, and I want to take counseling because I want to become a better version of myself. So I go to counseling, because I'm working on relationship, anger, frustration, and maybe it's court ordered. Maybe the police officer made me, but I still have to go. Maybe I just decide to go. And I see a homeless man outside of that building, and I didn't think much of it. I see him. But then from inside the building, I see a security officer, and he's smiling at me, my wife, my kids. And then he looks at that homeless man, and yet I have all these perceptions going on. And then now he goes, and this is a real story. He goes to that bench in front of the building about 5 feet away from the doors. The security guy was opening the door, saw a family coming in, and he wants to keep the area clean. And he starts kicking the homeless man. After waking him up, several attempts, the homeless man wasn't waking up. And then he starts kicking his foot, kicking. But I can feel the feelings. I've had that ability come to me always, though. And I'm noticing the energy dynamics, and I can feel it. And the homeless man starts to wake up, and I jump in. I've always done that. I've always been the type to jump into crowds, but I don't do it anymore. But in the past, I used to jump in. I used to always be there at the wrong place at the right time. I would choose to do that. And so this time I told the security guy, hey, what the heck are you doing? Don't touch him. That's a human being. That's a man. Don't kick him. How dare you? And I went up to the security guy, and I did it I knew what I was doing, but I still did it. And I kicked the security officer 3 times. I said, how does that feel? Get out of here before. And then the homeless man woke up, started fighting him. And then I said, good, see what happens. And sometimes it's bittersweet teaching lessons that way. Sometimes, and I have hundreds of stories where I've taught lessons. I didn't have to intervene. And, sometimes, let me finish this story and I'll give you other examples. So anyways, then the homeless man starts hitting him, gets up, walks away. And I said, you shouldn't have done that. You see what happened? And then my son was right next to me. And I said, Arnav, what was the teaching lesson in this? And instead of my son saying, Dad, why did you interfere? Why did you get involved? Why did you punch? Or not punch. Why did you let that guy punch him? I said, so he said, the security officer needed to learn and understand that that's a human being and that you shouldn't do that to anybody. My 5-year-old son at that time said that. And I was just so impressed by the teaching that I was trying to embrace in my dynamic around my people that were around me. And I was impressed. But my partner at the time was like, you didn't have to get involved. Why did you do that? Maybe you could have done it differently. There's different ways to teach, but I don't think at that moment that security officer would have learned by wisdom. He had to learn through pain and suffering, not do it to the next person.
That's this anger. I could feel a bit when you talked, when you shared the story, and I was also thinking, how can you teach him? There's all this anger in him, and then depending on the consciousness level of the homeless person, because some homeless people are very conscious and very awake, then you get like this anger rubber, right? And then that can explode. But I was also thinking while you shared here, you said to use these negative energies for something beautiful to create.
Yes.
And I remember last year when I was in Sweden helping my friend, he's like, his frustration and his anger from where he comes from, Northern Ireland, bad upbringing, bombs exploding. For him, the anger was the energy to move forward and having, I don't know how many PhD he made and getting a really successful life as a coach, as a, in coaching and all these things in companies. So he said, yeah, but anger is a really good fuel, a really good energy to create. And for me, I don't know how to use anger to actually create. For me, it's destructive. So how can you use this so-called negative energy to create something beautiful, to push yourself out of a bad situation? On how to realize, like you shared this, like you get angry because you hit. So how can you then turn that around?
So there's other ways to do it. So I expelled it that day. I used it as a force to do that. And then there's been other stories where I take it back in and I use it for myself. Or if someone triggers me or pushes my buttons, or it came from a lot of practice, like breathing, learning how long before I explode. Before, I used to be very explosive. I didn't know how not to react. My life was a reaction, very fast. And I used to just be very abusive and dark energy and negative. I didn't have any control, self-control. I was just very or you heard me say already. But so the temperaments, you work at different levels of temperaments. You're like, okay, if my temperament, was like, I had no leeway at it. I had to understand the essence of the thought first. So it started with a thought, then I got the feeling, and then the emotion. And then, so I got the thought, then I recognized the emotion, the feeling that it gave me. And I sat in that feeling and emotionalized it instead of reacted, right? So I emotionalized it. It hurt, it bothered me. I wanted to, it turned in, and then I exploded even worse because I held it in for so long. And I'm like, I'm trying to do this work, and why is it feeling so bad? And I just snap. And then I would snap and I'm like, what do I do now? Right. And then I practiced walking away. So I'd do the same first two steps, then I would walk away or turn away. And then people around me were like, why are you walking away? You can't face me. And I would just, and then, so then it lasted 3 minutes. And then I'm like, okay, now what do I do next to enhance that? Then it would last like 5, 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, wow. So I'm getting better. So it's a lot of in your head, in your mind, and your body control and understanding what I was doing. And no matter what outside of me was creating a circumstance, I had to become an inner body and out of body experience to see and acknowledge what she's doing to me or what he's doing to me. It's not that they're trying to do it, but my perception was like, are they trying to do it? Are they trying to poke my butt? There were so many different ways and different circumstances that I had to look at in my life. Because remember, I sent you some pictures of what I used to look like. Without saying, I was a fucked up guy. People were scared to look at me. You saw my picture, right? Like
you looked gangster like. You had like this look, like you sent me something at 12 or 14 years of age. I'm like, oh, this is one of these cool young, gangsters, right? Which I know also from Switzerland. The look in the face.
Not the 14. I sent you another one.
Yeah, with the pink, the pink.
Not even that one. Even the driver's license. I sent you a crop of that driver's license. Anyways, there's so many different moments.
Yes.
But anyways. I had to deal with that type of, and I had people tell me like, I don't like you. I'm scared of you. I don't want to walk next to you. I crossed the street from you. Or, even like police officers, they used to bring 10 other police officers to face me. It's just a lot of ego dirt that I had. But I'm giving true examples. I'm not sharing stories to boast anyone's ego, but or compete or try to prove. I'm just saying that that's the level that I had to confront in me.
What I can see is also, you share this for others to see it's possible in their life to turn around, change these energies, because
It
I
is.
can really see that I've also heard people talk about they took the hit so others didn't have to get the hit. Didn't have to be beaten up or have to have the same experience. So it feels a little bit like you have this really hard life, so others didn't have to experience, and you want to show, or that's the feeling I get, you want to show others with the examples you bring that it's possible to get from a very explosiveness, a very reactive personality into a more calm. So what are you doing now when people, as you said, there's people which want to trigger and push the buttons, and there's people which don't want to do it. Your perception is like,
Yeah. There are so many things to do. There are so many things to incorporate. It's not one thing. So what I said, add internal dialogue, auto suggestions, reframing, reprogramming the negative auto suggestions into positive ones, into reaffirming statements in your life and chanting them, meditating them, creating mantras, being repetitive, like 1,000 times, saying something over and over and over until it becomes your new synapse, right? There's that. There's like levels of healing too, that what I was giving examples of officers and judges and police and anger and fights and people and negativity. Now imagine being in crutches, right? I was in crutches. I was in a wheelchair. Imagine I was more, so I had what I had, that anger, that toxicity on top of being in crutches now and being in a wheelchair. Imagine how I had to transmute my energy, because if we make thought patterns, we're creating reality. So in order for me to heal and get out of that wheelchair fast, out of the crutches fast, heal my bones fast, heal everything fast, was just kind of changing everything chemically and supernaturally in my vibration, right? Like I had to understand this. You see how I'm shaking right now? We have to understand this feeling, what this is, what is this? We have to understand what's going on inside of us, right?
oh yeah, do you want to show like this inner nervousness is like where you just shake inside even though no one sees it from the outside? You mean this kind of
No, it's not
nervousness?
only a shake, it's like your vibrational frequency. You have to understand that when thoughts, where do they come from? Where do your thoughts come from? Do they come from you? Come to you?
Yeah,
Are they created? Are they thought of? Or where do they come from, right? Are they a memory? Are they in your cells? Are they in your skin, in your brain, in your eyes? If you think of, like, what is it? So it's not you. And then just realizing that you're sitting in, it's not me. What am I? Who am I? And learning how to disassociate chemicals and the thought waves and the thought patterns and frequencies and the thought. It's possible. Like, I'm making it sound hard, but just like know that it happens fast when you incorporate a lot of the exercises and the routines and the habits and the rituals in your life, and you become a new version of yourself. It starts to happen. So there's so many things you could do, like I said, researching, listening to talks, and surrendering, repenting, facing your fraudulence. There's every element that we're speaking of, you can't pick one. You got to do it all.
You start like with one thing, you start to master it to some degree, then you add a new one. And these things, as I've think to recall, I don't remember if it was offline or in the interview, that it's kind of like an intuitive thing, right? You feel drawn to something and then you start to do that.
Yeah, sometimes you get drawn to something you don't want. Sometimes you get drawn to something you want. Sometimes you get intuition. But sometimes I realized I was getting gut feelings and intuitions that I was able to enhance. So that's another area people have talked to me about, is like, I get this intuition, I trust my gut. And then I look into their health and I'm like, how do you know you could trust your gut when you still eat chips or KFC? Right? How can you trust your gut bacteria? How can you trust the parasites that's conscious in you, influencing you? Just because you're doing the good things you want, but there's other things that you're negating to do because you don't think you need it, like your health. Maybe the parasites in you are okay with you doing all the conscious work, but then you're still unhealthy a little bit, right? And you're not watching that talk, that podcast is not interesting you. So you're just focusing on one area. So your intuition is not guiding you there. So that's another little thing there that we need to do, is step into our uncomfort zone. Step into our uncomfort zone is like watching something that you would look at like but like not watch that interview. If that interview or that meditation is about anger and you're positive and you're like, no, I want to listen to Cleanse My Home, positive meditation. And I want to watch that interview is positive. I want to watch this. That's awesome. That's growth. But you're negating negative talk. How to overcome depression. Why am I so negative? Who am I? Why is negativity good? And that person completely avoids all of that. I'm saying to that person that's listening, dive into that now. That's another area in your life that you can consciously start doing.
Yeah. You also think that life kind of pushes the things in front of you that you should work on at the moment, like your higher self, your guides, whatever it is, until you see it. I mean, as you said, you might just not watch this anger management YouTube video, but it's shown until you eventually like, okay,
yes.
now it went through the filters, it went through the barriers, because people around you talk about anger management. At work, they talk about anger management. In the radio, they talk about it. Yes. Eventually, I had the feeling like, wow, I haven't really been aware of, I don't remember what it was. I should listen to that, or I should read about this. And then when I think about it, like, haven't I heard about this or seen it like the last month a lot of times? I just wasn't aware because my filters were pushing it away.
You're right. You're right. Life gives us all these filters. Sometimes things happen through life, shows us and we dismiss it. But sometimes when you start doing it so much and you do the things that life is showing you, or intuition comes, or you start doing it and you create a habit and you create a ritual or a habit out of it and you pattern recognize, then you start to become more conscious aware and you start to be the dictator of your life and you create your reality, you create your destiny, and then you're the leader, right? But yes, for a lot of people, keep accumulating and keep doing what you got to do in life's showing you things. But what I'm saying is once you surpass that, then it just becomes a surplus. It just keeps happening and coming and synchronizing.
Yeah, then you're more in the flow. So as we talked about discipline and focus, and what was the other one? Pain and discomfort. Should we a little bit into that? So how can we prove our discipline, our focus, and how to do that? Because I have the feeling from all the talk I had with you before the near-death and even after the near-death experience, it took some time for you to not be a sleepwalking victim of life and actually start to discipline and focus.
It came by frustration and people pointing the finger at me. I was trying to teach the wrong way. I was trying to coach and educate, and family and friends and everyone resisted, ran away from me, ran away from my life, didn't want nothing to do with me. And they would say, why don't you become a coach? Why don't you become a therapist? Or why don't you, if you're so smart, or, like, why don't you become a doctor? You become a realtor. You'd be the best. And it's like, I looked at myself, I'm like, no one's learning. Nothing's happening. What am I doing? So I start to point the finger at me and start to wake myself up and realize consciously, how do I become better? I point the finger at myself and I look at your own fraudulence. Now stop pointing at other people and what they're doing, not doing, just because you've enhanced in a certain area. Still point within. Don't point outwards, point within. And I kept doing that, and I kept addressing my ego, kept thinking of my thoughts, feelings, and emotions, kept pointing at myself, slapping myself in the face, and I would physically, I would slap myself in the face. Sometimes it's just I'm just saying that, but sometimes I would, and I would cry. I practice crying therapy. I cry and I cry and I sit in it for a few hours, and the emotions are so beautiful, but I'm crying from a pain and suffering. I'm emotionalizing dark areas but I'm transmuting it. So that's another area. There's so many things that you can do. But that's what I would do. And I would self-reflect, do the work, self-reflect, do the work, self-reflect, do the work, until I felt that I could even feel and recognize myself as authentic. And until I became an authentic person, then I can't help other people become authentic, right? So I had to become authentic to my fraudulence. So I can't point out someone else's fraudulence until I became fraudulent, until I confronted my fraudulence, and until I committed to my sacrifices, my disciplines, and my changes, my abilities, and, like people. And then, my whole life was my mom, my dad, my sisters pointing fingers at me, calling me a loser, calling me shit, or calling me dirt, or, just names that I don't know if you want on your podcast, like bad names that shouldn't come out of my mouth because they're disgusting, horrible words and phrases and statements. And, those were projected on me my entire life, and nothing was ever good enough. It was like, you're still a piece of shit, right? That's not the worst. I'm just saying light stuff here. You're still garbage. You're still a loser. You're no good. You'll never amount to anything. You're defiant. You're going to always be like your dad. You're always going to be like your mom, or you're no better than your sisters, or I'm just doing sugarcoating level right now. It's far deeper than that. But, and then, so I would realize that maybe that's a learning lesson. Maybe that happened for me. Maybe it's true. Maybe I do need to slap myself in the face. Maybe I am an abuser. Maybe I am a fucking loser. Maybe I am a narcissist. Maybe I am disgusting. Maybe I'll never amount to anything. Maybe I am this loser that keeps moving out, keeps becoming homeless, keeps, having pimples all over his face, scars and acne, and I'm disgusting and I can't afford. And I went through the patterns by recognizing my patterns and addressing them, and not negating them, and not being like, oh, not me. Why was I the victim and all this? I actually became a powerful nurturer of that dark energy. And I used that dark energy to push me forward while I was in jail. So I used dark energy in dark energy. So I used dark energy while I was in jail. I used dark energy while I was homeless. I used dark energy while my ex left me, or while my kids were taken away from me, while I was going to court every week for 12 years, while I was paying child support, while I have a 20-year-old son in the world and now he's no longer in my life since he's 12 years old. I used dark energy and transformed it into a flower. And I turned it into love.
How did you get to be so disciplined? How do you get into doing it? Because we had the discussion also about me, where you said you have all this knowledge, and you already mentioned it before, right? In this talk here, that the intelligence and the classes and the knowledge, and why you're not applying it? You asked me once, and I'm like, so I started, and then somehow it just disappears again. So how do you build up discipline, that focus, that continuity?
Knowing that it dies. Like a lot of people say motivation, positivity dies. It does. Discipline dies. It does. Everything dies. And what do you do when it dies? What do you do when that discipline, that momentum dies? What do? You fall down and you get back after an hour, 2 hours, a day, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. You realize your patterns and you realize the hindrance and you realize that you're going to die. Just realize that you're going to die like this. And the shadows around you, like it did me, that your life review is going to confront you and you're going to confront yourself that you could have, you should have, and you would have. And those how-tos, it's like, I can show you, if you invite me there to your home, I can make you do everything and it will become a ritual, a habit, right? I could, but how could you do that, right? How can you make yourself? It's by doing it even when it's hard. I had to do things even when it's hard. So when your discipline dies and you don't do it anymore, then it becomes hard and then you're comfortable and it's easy, right? And then you go eat, relax, chill with your kids and the discipline goes away because you're not doing anything while it's soft. So use that hard feeling of losing the discipline to stay in the discipline, even though you're not doing the discipline. Stay in the emotions, feelings, keep it alive, keep it swelling up in you and keep that feeling burning in you and don't let it go. Keep it burning in you and do something uncomfortable again and again and again. When you feel uncomfortable, just go and go with your kids and you guys do something uncomfortable and challenging that maybe will help you partake and participate in being a student and a teacher. You know, maybe you are supposed to go to the gym. You didn't go to the gym and that was your discipline fell out. But then now you are going to work out and you're going to commit to 100 push-ups and you and your kids do it. You know, like do something. There's no magic. The magic is within. Like the magic comes after. It's like that the best part comes after the pain, after the fear, but no one wants to do it anyways. To see it. Nobody wants to go through the lava of life and crawl through the depths of hell. They want to just stay on the fluffy end of things and the edge of everything. And they don't want to jump off. You know, they don't want to jump off and know what it feels like to die. That, you know, I'm used to it. It's hard. And maybe I had to go through what I had to go through to do what and say what I had to say. But you know what? For anybody listening, just know that everything's going to die to rebirth again, right? That energy is infinite. It's okay to understand that. It's okay to go through the feelings. It's okay to go through the emotions. It's okay to do it and recognize that and then realize, what am I doing? I'm just going to go. Kids, you stay home today. I'm going to the gym. And even though it feels like shit, but you're doing it, you know, and just watching yourself progress and just keep doing more, you know, sometimes when it comes to depression too, like there's ways to hug the demon. There's ways to hug the devil. There's ways to hug and nurture the fraudulence and the emotions and the depression that we're going through. There's ways to uplift ourselves while the chemical imbalances are weighing us down, and to watch it and observe it and to come out of your body and realize that you are not what's holding you down. And then your spirit comes back into your body and lifts you out of it. There's levels that I had to go. I was depressed, man. I wasn't working for 2 years. My spouse left me with my kids. She took my kids away from me, and she put a restraining order on me, well deserved. I was abusive. I was a narcissist. I was negative. I was toxic. I went to jail. I was disgusting. I was jealous. I had so many problems, and I had to face the consequences of life. And what happened was I realized everything was happening for me. She didn't do it to me. It happened for me. And I had to go through that feeling, and I had to learn to appreciate it. I had to learn how to accept it. I had to learn to live that and go through that differently. You know, I had to flush all of the drugs and pharmaceuticals down the toilet that was keeping me alive. I had medications that were keeping me protected and alive. That's what they say. Blood thinners to travel to your lungs. You have to take them. You have to. Yeah. I had blood clots. I had like 5 blood clots and I just said, I'm coming off of it cold turkey. And I didn't tell the nurses nothing. I didn't go get checked up. I took myself off of the pharmaceuticals and I sacrificed my life for death. And a lot of people don't want to sacrifice their life for death.
Yeah. So what is death for you now with all the experience you have?
Killing the old you, killing that self-identity, that characteristics you think you have, those mannerisms, those tonalities, those internal dialogues, those cells, the blood, the nerves, the brain, the heart, the lungs, everything. Kill it all. Destroy it and rebuild it, reframe it and nurture it and soothe it and, kill it all. Kill the old you. How do you kill the old you? By realizing this is not your future self. If you were to visualize who your future self is, what your spiritual self is this what your spirit would be looking down at, smiling at you? No. It's probably like waiting and hoping to become that version of itself. When I died, my spirit was amazing. And I realized I wasn't that. In the body, I'm not that. So there's going to be people, if I finish my sentence there, they'll be like, oh, how dare you say that about the spirit? Well, now I just finished my sentence. When I died, my spirit was better than what I left behind. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
This is just the body.
No, it's not just the body. We're a spirit.
Yeah,
and you're not making your spirit better. You're still connecting to the body. It's the spirit we got to connect to. That's what people have to understand. The spirit. Okay. Yeah. Our cells, our body, it's conscious because of our spirit. It's not just a body. There's an essence.
Yeah. It's like, that's why, a beggar or a homeless person can be more in tune with his spirit than a very rich person, because the inner work has been done from a homeless, but from the outside, the homeless looks like a failure. Where the
feel rich being homeless? Can you feel rich and successful being homeless? Can you? Right? Can you? How do you embrace that essence? Every time you ask me, and you're trying to get to that root cause, you're always asking me in an essence, like, how do I obtain this? I'm giving that to you. It's like, how do you feel rich being homeless or not, quote unquote, successful? How do you embrace that? No, it's not how do you do it. You be it.
Yes.
You become it. You become it now. Whatever the external goal is, don't wait for it. Just be that now, right? Yeah. Feel it now.
Yeah. So let me do another question here. I think you have really explained that right. So it's kind of like push forward. It's like seeing yourself dying the way you are now, and really feel that. So that gives you push to be more disciplined. Actually go for the workout if you don't work out. Change the food if you eat bad. Wake up when you say you wake up. Be nice to other people. You also show the discipline and also the pattern recognition to bind it into the last interview. We had the second part, the mind expanding, where you say like, push yourself to these cycles again and again and again. So like if you're sick, put yourself into the sickness again.
Yes.
Find out what is the cause of the sickness. Is it the way you eat,
Yes.
the way you think, the way you are?
Yes.
And you shared today, you went even deeper because you shared like, okay, people were pushing my button. They wanted to push my button because they wanted to make me angry, because they saw the narcissist, they saw the bad person. They wanted the fight, right? Some people want the fight. And then you were exploding in the beginning, and then you were breathing, whatever, box breathing, whatever breathing. And 30 seconds before I explode, before I was just hitting. And now 30 seconds before I hit, then I turn away. And now, 3 minutes, and I do something else, 5 minutes. And now the person wants to push me, and I see it. And I'm at peace. I'm at peace with it. I see the victim. I see the pain the person is in.
Yes.
Right? And I can practice forgiveness. So that's where the discipline comes in. But it's also helping when you see the growth, right? If you see the growth of yourself, it's easier to keep discipline. And
then you'll see the love. Yes.
Yes. And when you fall off, and that's not Louise Hay, that's the other channel, what's her name?
Abraham.
There we go. You just pulled it out of my head. It didn't go on my tongue, but it was in my head, and you've just vocalized it. Yes, Abraham Hicks, in one of her talks, she said, when you fall off the high-flying disc, the high vibration of the love and of all the self-acceptance and the acceptance of self-acceptance, acceptance of everything, like the dark, the good, the evil, the bad, the beauty, then just say, I just fell off the high-flying disc. And you step on it again. And you go with the discipline again. And it's not a bad thing to miss one day. Yes, then you ate the ice cream.
Exactly. So, you've heard, and we don't need to mention names, but you can, but you've heard a lot of people, gurus and people, coaches, and all of them say, you cannot have two vibrations at the same time. You cannot be angry and happy at the same time. You cannot feel grateful when you're negative, right? Who said that? You know who. But I love him anyways. I love him. I love them all because I've studied them. I've taken ideas and concepts, but I disagree with that because I've been able to be in the depths of hell and feel joy. I've been able to to have my kid taken away, and understand how to embrace that. Like that's goes against what they say in the law of attraction is like, you can't feel low yet want to feel high or feel high, or, you know what I mean? You can.
Yes, I know. It's
maybe they mean like, you can't be being exploding, bitter and angry at someone, and then be counterintuitive, and then be two-faced, and then smile at someone the next second, right? Like, I get that concept. Like, that's kind of pathetic, right? That's like two-faced.
Like you said it already. What I was thinking is kind of like, if you feel angry to someone and you cannot forgive because that person is poking you and pushing the buttons. But if you feel love for that person, in the same time, you cannot feel hate for the person. I think it's more like in that direction.
Yes.
So you in love with the people and change. Where then my question is consciousness. What is consciousness for you?
Yeah. We give our brain consciousness. We give our cells consciousness. We give our organs, our wiring and firing and the synapses consciousness. And without consciousness, we wouldn't function, right? And consciousness is like awareness, right? And it's the aliveness. It's in everything. It's the energy. It's in trees and animals and thought forms and frequencies and neural patterns, and it's in thought forms, thought waves, and it's everything. What do you want to know about consciousness, though? Like, be more specific. What is consciousness? It's our spirit. It's everything. It's more than just our spirit. Beyond our spirit. When I was a spirit, when I died, there were consciousness around my spirit. So it's not just your spirit is not just consciousness. There was consciousness beyond my spirit. So, and then beyond those angels and gods or whatever beings there are, they have other consciousness as well. And then there's multi dimensions. There's different realms, and what we think is consciousness and God here, there's another universe or another galaxy with different concepts. It's just beyond everything. Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I heard today that someone said AI is consciousness as well. You know, the artificial intelligence. It has its own consciousness.
Yeah, it's like how I can make, when you have a shadow limb, like when you lose your limb, it's still conscious. And you have no arm, it's still conscious. So it's like you can educate yourself to regrow. You can make your stem cells conscious, like stem cells, right? Grow a new limb. So if you can understand these algorithms and this universal consciousness, why can't we tap that into AI? Why can't we make our dog more conscious? We can make our animals more conscious. We can make our fish more conscious, our birds around us more conscious. We can train consciousness to be more conscious. I was unconscious, but I should have been conscious before my car accident, right?
So when you shared like these different levels, the consciousness around your spirit and God and universes, do you feel like there's consciousness inside consciousness? So like you have like a higher consciousness and even higher, like more aware of things, more understanding of how things work, or?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just maybe not fully understanding, but it's fully accepting there's an expansion, fully accepting and believing and knowing and trusting without a limit. Don't limit the perception, expand your perception, expand your horizons, expand consciousness, expand global consciousness, expand the universe, right? Expand your cells, expand your blood, your oxygen, expand your everything about you.
How do you do it?
By being expansive and open and aware and not limiting to my that I can only grow. And what does growth mean? Not defining. When you define something, you're limiting. So it's like almost allowing consciousness to take over. It's like when you surrender, but you have a trust and a knowing of this expansion, it'll just take you there.
Okay.
It's like, that's how I left my body. That's how I was able to float and fly and go away. That's how I was able to enter things, was by just knowing I can surrender and be in the expansion of all.
So
right?
can you then also get into other consciousness, like get into the consciousness of the tree or of
Yeah. it starts with an awareness, feelings, thoughts, and emotions. I can go up to a tree, like even right now, if I wanted to. It's kind of embarrassing, but I can start crying. I could start crying for you. I could just start feeling emotions and show you what it's like for teardrops and for me to be very emotional right now. I can do that. You can do that. You can go grab a tree, and if you bring those emotions and those feelings, and you just, there's a feeling you do. It's almost from your roots, and you bring it up and you bring it to your stomach, and you bring feelings. I'm doing it right now, and and you start right now, and starts to emotionalize, and then you bring it, and tears are coming a little bit, and you just kind of, I could have cried. Like if I keep going, my eyes would water. But it's, if you can do that with energy as well, if you can do that with people, with trees, with nature, with God, with source, with everything, you got to do that, right? That's what we got to do.
It's kind of like, it feels like a way of meditation. It's to connect like stillness and feeling into the feeling, and enhance the feelings. It sounds
Right.
like.
Yeah, it is that. Yeah, enhance the feelings, and yeah, it's good stuff. It's good work.
Yeah, it's kind of like, when I think of enhancing the feeling, it's like when I say meditation is kind of focus on one thing. If it's the breath or the candle, and when you feel on these emotions, I can imagine that everything else goes, the thoughts go away, like the thinking goes away, right? I remember in the last episode, you mentioned what did I have it right? How to live your life as a meditation. You mentioned that, right? So when we come from consciousness, so how do you bring that live your life in the meditation? I just think of Joe Dispenza's walking meditation. I've never been able to do that. Is that kind of like similar? Like you're in meditation all the day, or?
You're just aware and mindful of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, frequencies, ideas, perceptions, tones, dialogues. It's just an awareness. And that's the meditation. It's not a meditation. It's not walking and you're meditating. It's more of a consciousness. It's more of, I'm aware that I am that I am. I am what I am. I'm right now, but also I'm a part of my eyes, and I'm a part of my thoughts. I'm a part of my feelings. I'm a part of my thinking. I'm a part of it. I'm not just separate from it. I'm not my thoughts, feelings, emotions, but I can be aware and mindful that, sometimes the people have been able to reverse eyesight. They've been able to reverse hearing, but that comes with a new form of consciousness. It's not like separating, right? That you're not the body. It's like coming into your cells, bringing your spirit into the neurons and electrons and into the stem cells, and taking your chi energy, taking your life force. We have semen, right? We could do the retention work. We can take that life force and heal and bring it to and through us, right? We can even do that with energy outside from within us. Like that feeling I was bringing up wasn't wasn't practicing semen retention, but it's like the same concept. If you do semen retention work and you bring that up and you bring that into love, you could do it with that, but it's the same feeling that I just created from down there. I brought it up, but it wasn't sperm. It was like, it was a energy. It was a flow. It was an energy, right? And it's maybe isolation, people practice isolation, being alone, maybe because I work from home and I'm, I like now that I'm isolated and I feel that feeling, and I embraced isolation when COVID came, and I taught, how do you thrive in isolation? How do you feel harmony and bliss and joy and meditative when the world was chaos? And I would go to this grocery store and we were like in meditation. We were feeling happy and we were looking at everybody in the parking lot, thousands of people inside. And I was walking and they're like walking away, going like this and turn. And I'm like, and they'd get all scared. And I'm like, holy smokes, people's consciousness is just going away. And we were just maintaining that level of consciousness, right? So it's just a way of being, right? It's that being.
It's reminding me of Eckhart Tolle, the being present. So kind of like walking and keeping this presence of the now.
Yes. You could use those words, presence and mindfulness, and in the now, in the present moment, right? Yes, I practice it, right? And realization and understanding challenges. There's so many things people could start looking into.
I know you have to soon go and change you to winter tires.
Yes.
I
have roughly 15 minutes left here.
But let's see what I can ask you, so you still can go and get your tires changed. That was beautiful. I really like it, where we go through the whole discussion, like more into discipline, the dark energies, how to use them to create the flower, create something beautiful, consciousness, and how to connect with consciousness, how to expand it, how to actually keep a meditative state, a presence during the day. And I've been hearing back and forth, like in this new age spiritual world, we are separating. The world goes into the unconscious and the conscious part, the 3D world, the 5D world. What is your knowledge, your experience? What is the 3D and the 5D world? Is it like really like different worlds? Is it just a different level of consciousness or frequency?
I see them, I hear them, I feel them, what they say. I just don't practice what those practitioners practice. I don't do that. I do guided intelligence. I'm guided intelligence, and that's what I do. But what it is I realize that when I do the level, like right now I'm on my second day water fasting. I'm not eating. I'm going to do 4 days or 5 days. I do that about 7 times a year. And that's another ritual. That's another sacrifice. People aren't being sacrificial. So the more that you accumulate in good ways that you do, the more you can become a part of those worlds. But you can also visualize those worlds. Like we talked about being, having board members and conversating and visualizing. We can project, we can premonize, we can be, have telekinesis abilities. We can, remote view and like teleport, and we can do so many things. There's so many ways to do it. And there's so much proof and truth in the world that you need to uncover. It's already uncovered. You need to go and uncover. There's so many things that are real and true, and disclosures. Look up all the proof and the talks and the Congress and the disclosures, the Pentagon. Everything is there. It's real. It's true. It's real. It's not conspiracy anymore. It's real. It's there. They talk about the portals. They talk about the agendas. It's there. Go research, expand your mind. And then, it's like, that's the expansion. It's not just talking about 5D and 3D, and then you see them partying, drinking, and smoking. Like you see, what's his name? Jaden Smith's sister. They're all about the 3D, 4D, 5D, 9D, but they're still like doing weird stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like talk, not walking the talk. just, talk about something,
Right.
kind of living another life.
Right. So it's like what are you doing with the 9D? What are you doing with the 5D? What can you do? But there's actual people that do the work. They know how to show through their devices, teleportation devices or levitation devices they've created. Instead of talking about 5D, why don't you create it here? Why aren't you doing anything with it? So that's the BS.
So I was also thinking about I think it's Hopi Native Americans, which talk about like the separation of the conscious people and the unconscious. You have to feel like the saying goes like, people will just disappear out of your life. The ones which are conscious, the conscious people will just disappear out of your life, and you will stay in the unconscious materialistical way of thinking and me against you and separation.
I've called into ancestors. You can call into. So if you're talking about specific details about like that, people do those things. They have spirits come into their body and they speak in that voice. I've been there. I've witnessed it. I've gone to many of those ceremonies.
It's like Bashar.
Yeah, I've been there. I've gone. Not channeling.
Not channeling.
He does channeling, Bashar. But I'm talking about people who they don't channel, they possess themselves with ancient ancestors, and the ancestors come in and they see through the eyes of the ancestors, and the ancestor can show you in your home where certain things are, and then they dig it out and they pull it out of the house, or they pull it out of the ground, or they find a dead body, or they find certain voodoo someone placed on you. Like, trust me, I have family members that do that stuff. I've been to it. I've seen it. I've seen prayers where they turn a liquid drink and the liquid drink turns red. I've witnessed it with my own eyes, right? I've seen people get haunted and possessed. I've seen possessions. Like these things, people want to stay away from the fluff people, right? Like, so it's all perception. It's like, are you going to see me as now stay away from me because he talked like that? Or are you going to understand that I understand? It's just my level of expansion. It doesn't mean I am in it or I'm out of it, or I'm just aware of these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's a lot going on. As you said, disclosure. I mean, there's a YouTube, which is called Disclosure.
Yeah, Stephen, what's his name? Dr. Greer does the Pentagon talks, the Congress talks with disclosure with the UFOs. Those aren't hidden anymore. They're not being flagged. You can go and watch those things with portals and dimensional beings working with the government. Like these things that you don't put on your podcast that we shouldn't be talking about, they're already out there. The government's already talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to mention it. I think the world is slowly opening up to those talks, and I think that was.
But it's 1,000 years old, my friend.
Yeah. But we were not ready. I mean, Matrix opened up the consciousness of the population, part of population.
No, we were ready. We were ready 1,000 years ago. It's an agenda to keep it down, keep it hush hush.
Opening that kind of worms now. Yes.
No. But you have to say that you have to speak out of your mind a fact. You're saying that we were not open. That's not the right way to say. We are open. People were always open, but we've been suppressed.
Yes, we were again. I mean, I wasn't open. When I saw Matrix, I was like, whoa, what a possibility, right?
Because we were suppressed to believe that it's not a possibility.
Exactly. So yeah, it's the wording.
Right.
We have been, I'm sure 200, 300 years, we have had much more consciousness, and it somehow was suppressed. And we had technologies. When I look at ancient civilization, and you go to India, and there's like a granite stone with 3 entrances, and the wall is like a mirror, like super flat with like I don't know, 0.01 millimeters. We have a hard time to actually create such surfaces with our technology. And it's like 10 meters long and only like 0.5 millimeter not straight, or like, at the end. then you ask like, oh,
Yeah.
they use the chisel and the hammer. Oh yes, of course.
No, that's mindset. That's mindset. And it's consciousness, it's mindset. It's people are arrogant, ignorant, naive. It's naivety and their perception because they are not choosing to educate themselves. They think that the education they have is an accumulation of the world, what the world has given them, but it's actually an agenda.
Yeah. So who controls what was it?
No, let's not go there.
But we have to close down, I have the feeling. Yeah, so I really like that we opened up a little bit of the mystical, outside of this podcast.
Yep.
And I think I've been afraid, like 3 years ago, I've been told my audience will change, and I didn't go down the near-death experience path. I didn't go down the outer body experiences path. I just went very little because I was a bit ashamed, afraid, right? Like you could have been crying now. I don't know how I would have handled that, honestly. But that's very vulnerable, and I wasn't able then to do that. And I see all the other podcasts which actually went down that path, how they increased the view. So I don't want to hold back anymore any of these weird talks because I know I haven't experienced them, but I know the possibility of it being true is very high because of when I listen to the people, it just sounds so real. And when I look at our school system,
our
the movies,
spirits are searching. Our souls are searching. We're soul searching. And
yes, exactly.
Yes.
That's where I am. So is there anything you think we should add to this talk? Or
just when you feel you figured it out, just realize you're still a student. You know nothing. You're an observer. Be okay with feeling and saying, I know nothing. I'm growing. I'm still learning. I'm observing. I know nothing. I'm growing, observing. I want to know more. Just give me more. Don't allow your perception to box you in and think that, oh, now I know knowledge. Now no, just keep surrendering and letting go. Keep surrendering, letting go. Receive, surrender, let go. Right? Yeah. Just practice, surrender, and let go. And discipline. Be very disciplinary because your spirit will thank you at the end of the day. And, maybe more things will be pointed out no matter how much you do that you could have done this. Oh, you could have gone to the moon. Oh, why didn't you go to the moon? And then if you come back into your body, reincarnate, then you'll be like going and flying rockets, right? Like maybe there's so many things that you need to step out of the bounds, right?
Yeah. And then we go into what is time? How did you experience time when you were dead? And all the lives, reincarnations. So many people say everything happens now. So if you lose any blockages now in this life, it might be when you were having a life in 1500 or in Caesar's time, which that personality you were incarnated suddenly has a better life because, whoa, suddenly wakes up and this blockage is gone because now we solve it. But we didn't go there because that would be another 20 minutes talk, I think, or longer.
Yeah, I would love those questions, and I would love to talk on that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we can probably go in another. These two talks were very deep into, cycles and open up and consciousness and change yourself, change higher up. So thank you so much. And people, please share, subscribe, go to Malcolm's YouTube and listen to his other podcasts where he's really going deep in his near-death experience. And I can see the way when I talk to you, I have the feeling it's a different person than when I listen to the other podcasts. I probably have to go and re-listen to some episodes from other podcasters because I think the mirroring is also, of course, also an effect of how my energy is towards you and the way you then answer and talk. At least that's the feeling I have. So
yes,
thank you so much for this talk and have fun with changing your tires to winter tires.